Live streaming is on.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Gay, Chief Marketing Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain. I'm joined here, as always, with Mr. Tim Vasco, who's the CEO, the Chief Architect, and the founder of BlockCerts Blockchain. Good morning to you, Tim.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing great this morning, thank you. It's been a long week and a lot of updates and changes. I just can't believe.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
I know, with the emails and notes I saw there. So,
Yeah.
but you know, it's pretty exciting time around here for all of us, because we're doing some things that have never been done before, and it's pretty apparent to me as we've talked in the past. And today we're talking about our BlockCerts version 2.0 and the bridge to DeFi and our upcoming liquidity pool launch roadmap, just so everybody knows. And if you like what you hear, please hit the thumbs up button, and also subscribe if you haven't already. So with that, we're going to get in and out in about 15 minutes today, and give everybody just a little bit of a taste of the roadmap, what we're doing. And
So
a lot of
this week, Dan, Google knows where you're at, so they're not going to try and cut you off on live stream in the middle of the
exactly.
like
I
last
don't know
week.
if everybody saw last week. All of a sudden, I was looking down and texting, and yeah, YouTube decided to do a two authentication step to or cut us off in the middle of our live stream, which is kind of appropriate with all the things that we say about protecting what's yours, and keep the things that are important to you, your data, et cetera. Right, Tim?
So wouldn't it have been easier if they just knew that that was you, and they had ID certain, and they knew exactly where you were because you told them with one click when you authenticated to get in?
Exactly. When I first came in, not in the middle of a live stream.
When you first came in, you're just like, yeah, this is me. This is my private key. Boom, and that there's no question. So I think that was really relevant, because I'm sitting here on this side going, what's he doing?
What the hell's going on?
And like I said, you know, this is the fundamentals. So what I want to do today, as we go live with BlockCerts version 2.0, I'm excited to show how big this is, like how absolutely massive this market is. And literally it is changing sometimes hour by hour. I sit here on my screen and watch what's happening, even on these exchanges. And as we start bringing up this bridge between utility and DeFi, and well, I'll just show you what the three elements are here. It's the bridge between the workplace, and workplace can be anywhere now. We know that it can be, well, like you last week, you were at a beach house, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, and it's not work from home; it's work from anywhere, right?
Work from anywhere. It's work from anywhere, and we talked a little bit about that last week, which is this work integration, right? Then the cloud and this bridge with what these cloud tools are, and all of this garbage, I'm sorry, where you have to go through a bunch of steps just to go from, hey, I'm doing this video meeting with Dan, to now I need to chat with him, to now I need to get some documents signed, to now I need to collaborate with his teams and with his team. And you've got to go through 4 or 5 different tools to try and do that. You know, the cloud's great, but it's become incredibly complicated to just do work and just be productive, right? And that's what I love. And I'm so excited about our BlockCerts platform and all those utility tools, the functional tools there. And then finally, the future of DeFi's, NFTs, what that means, right? And that's the bridge. That's BlockCerts version 2.0 solves that. And I know this is the world from here. And the world from here, we started in March of 2020 when COVID started.
Correct.
And we were talking about all these issues in the world. The issues in the world today are this interlinking between what we now know has to happen with digital technology and work and identity, and everything from vaccine passports to streaming video.
Yeah, and every business, Tim, is trying to figure out how they deal with this new reality that we all have, which is kind of changing. Here we thought, vaccines, that things are going to get back to normal. Now we know that's really not the case.
Well, this is this is normal now.
Correct. It's not the case of going back a year and a half ago, but this is our new normal. So how do we structure, manage, compete, and use a platform that really enables us to excel?
Right. And like these guys on the picture here, right? Literally, just wait, because the next phase of this is going to continue to amaze and shock. And that's where the opportunity is. And BlockCerts version 2.0, our chain changed. We started our first chain, version 1.0, our POC in 2016. I want to kind of give a timeline here. So we're going to go from a timeline of where we started to the roadmap. We started in 2016. Now, it's 5 years later. I want to point out something. I was talking to you, Dan, and our manager of security, and I said, look, let's look at things like when Microsoft went from Windows NT to Windows 10. And the timelines it takes to actually stabilize to where when you just turn something on, it works. Or when Mac went from the Mac chip to the Intel chip, I think now back to the Mac chip inside. So when we put BCert inside as the first authentication block cloud, that's what we are. This authentication block knows all these things about work, about your cloud, about your DeFi, about where you're going, and you control it. You're in control, just like our wallet says. Then all of a sudden, you're looking at the future of the world, right? So, Dan, if you had done this, if you had just simply, and I'm going to do it right now, I'm going to put in my 2FA here, and let me just grab it, just like I'm looking down on the screen here.
Because the point is, you should never get in, and you should never get in the first place. Not be pinged as you're doing work.
Right. And now I am able to travel along any of these areas with my integrated access management and get in and start looking at, boom, do I want to trade? Do I want to go to BlockCerts Live and start looking at this live mainnet? Or just with a click, do I want to go somewhere else? And from anywhere, once I finish that ID, and I haven't finished it yet on this particular wallet, I am able to travel to any of these areas and run my wallets. And that's what happens. And guess what? I'm able to use that utility token inside and live go from my meetings to my instant messaging, validate anybody I'm working with or myself. I can go use my work certain collaboration tools. I can show my vaccine pass from walking into a restaurant, walking into work, walking onto an airplane, or going to an event. Think about that, right? I can do all my onboarding, training, productivity, working with my teams, and I know where my teams are anywhere in the world. And we do that today, Dan. And as you know,
every day.
Have in over 13 countries now. I think we're up to 14 countries now and 5 continents.
Right.
This is utility. So you hear a lot about this utility. And all of this happens with our token that we are taking live on version 2.0 with all of this capacity. It's been there for a long time. This is now all the capacity. I want to sign a document. I don't have to go get another tool. I just sign a document. I click sign a document. It's there. I want to create a shopping cart or be a shopper. I'm identified, right?
Right.
And I want to share files or what have you. I can do that. I want to make payments and transfers, or I even want to do market optimization and marketing. All of this stuff is live now on version 2.0. All right.
And we're using it now, right?
We've been using it. Yeah.
We've been using it.
We've been using it. We've got other user community members on BlockCerts using it. But interestingly, where have you ever seen anywhere on the planet that you can go from that to that wallet to swap and go, I want to pick an account, I want to swap, and I get to go from my BCert to my WBCert and trade on the network.
Right.
Okay.
You can't.
Now this is what going live means. Now let me show what I'd like to do next, Dan, is show you what all these what's happening in the world of these DeFi, NFTs, and exchanges, and where BlockCerts version 2 is going to show up first.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. So we already know that there's this utility, and I need to explain this very quickly because when we roll these out, it'll make a lot more sense when we start rolling out next week to our existing token user community and open this up as we expand our network of token holders, buyers, and utility users. Okay. So the first thing is there are 3 tokens within one token within this. The minute you touch this wallet, because you have these multiple areas, the workplace, the cloud, and the DeFi markets, NFT markets, those open markets, we needed to engineer this with 3 layers. So if you look at a Bitcoin or you look at an Ethereum, you have, or XRP, pick one, any of these tokens out there that you can find, and there's a bunch of them. They're all one trick ponies is what I like to call them. Okay. They do one thing and they allow you to speculate. And the speculation's pretty huge. You can look at all those cryptocurrencies and obviously the size of the market and all that and start seeing what it looks like, right? So Bitcoin today, Ethereum today, and so forth. And these are all designed specifically for speculation and trading. There's
just transactions. Yep.
Transaction. There's a blockchain behind these things, but the actual utility of blockchain has not merged yet with most of these areas here. There's one coin here, frankly, that has utility behind it, and it's the Binance, because they're an exchange, and their utility is actually an exchange, right? There's another one, and I bet I don't even know if I can find it, called the BAT token, and BAT uses this browser that I'm going to show right here now, which is the Brave browser. Okay. So when we look at this, we look at these exchanges, and then you look at all these tokens, and then we start looking at, well, what are the top cryptocurrency decentralized exchanges? So what's happened is now all of those exchanges are emerging, right?
Right.
So what the world needs to think about is when anybody launches out there now a token, we're launching utility, a cloud that people control with their tokens, tools people control with their tokens, and a trading token. Look at all of these different exchanges you've got options for. We talk a lot about Uniswap, but as of today, DYDX is even bigger than Uniswap.
Right.
Look at that. Okay. So you got all of these exchanges, and look at how many are out there now on DeFi. And I just want to make this really clear that when this happens, this entire ecosystem gets out there. So if I was looking at something like banks, if I was looking at something like stock exchanges, this is, when we talk DeFi, we talk about the emergence of a new model of financial exchange systems. Does that make sense?
That makes great sense. And we've been talking for quite some time about the merging of tech and finance, and it's here.
That's right. And it's here. And so you've got tech, you've got finance, and now with BlockCerts version 2, you have cloud, SaaS tools, utility, and identity, the authentication block. Okay. And when we cross those over, that's called a multi-hop. Okay. And multi-hop or cross-chain. And what BlockCerts version 2 has in it is a bridge that allows you to, just like any other bridge in the physical world, get from island to island, because before all of this happened, every one of those was an island.
Correct.
And also all of those islands had different rules and regulations surrounding them, right?
Right.
So what's also happening is this merger and figuring out of how are we going to manage those economics and those islands and build better bridges, right? Build better regulations, better compliance, and things like that. That's the authentication block. That's this idea of identity. And so without getting too complex, what BlockCerts version 2 going live means is we're building that bridge between those factors. And there's a lot of factors going on out there. When we look at, so this is the top decentralized exchanges. Now let's go look at the top cryptocurrency exchanges. These are the spot exchanges. Okay. And we'll recognize most of these. So you've got Binance and Coinbase. Coinbase just went public a couple months ago. You've got FTX. You've got KuCoin, Hobu Global, and Kraken. Kraken is now one of the digital banks. It's got a digital banking license in the state of Wyoming. So it's really important now to look at beyond DeFi. There's this other ecosystem.
Right.
Okay.
Which those are going to start merging, and obviously.
Well, they already have. So
Binance,
if I go from Binance and then I go over here to Pancake Swap or Sushi Swap, that's Binance. Right. And you've got Binance has the Binance Smart Chain. Okay. So when I talk about bridges, it's really, really critical to understand that that bridge is a big deal. And that's what we have done on our swapping mechanism and on our trading mechanism, is we've now enabled these assets all to be bridged across networks. Okay. And when we do that, you can now start understanding why you have to have multiple tools, or you have to have that the multiple tokens. And our three tokens are the Be Certain token, Be Cert Inside. That's the utility token that bridges and operates through Ink rewards that will enhance the staking of liquidity, staking pools, and farming, which we'll explain next week, and the Be Cert token, which actually lets you as the user have choice. So that's why we call the bridge to all of this our choice program. And again, going back to last week, we talked about that, which is what is choice, and the future is hybrid.
Right.
So I wanted to explain what all that does, because going live on all of these elements and just then clicking a button and saying, I want to go to this exchange, is exactly what we've enabled in the wallet and in the ability to go from wherever we want to go into this ecosystem. It's your choice.
And Tim, every single one of those technology solutions is a big deal. Integrated access management, which you're showing to be able to go into multiple places with just one click. And then just like we were talking prior to this, the wallet, the chain bridge, instance ready, certifier role, KYC, all the things and components that are a part of this, very complex, but integrated, which is a big Big deal.
That's right. And so we're super excited that we've been able to achieve this technical hurdle over these many years now to deliver this into version 2.0. So version 2.0 is a very big step forward. Validating why that is so important. We see these validation points or the elements that need to happen in the world every day. And we saw in many of these places, and we talked a little bit about this quickly last week, but I'll just go back there, which is when we now have this bridge. I want to continue on this path here for a minute and show the other thing that we get a lot of questions about. It's coming up almost daily now. And again, what are your top NFT markets? Now, isn't it interesting that when you go look for top NFT markets, you get something like this, which is just a static image, right? Whereas over here, you can kind of just be logical and see the evolution. You get all this actual activity. Over here, you're still seeing static images. It's likely that you're going to start seeing this kind of aggregation over here in NFTs as well. This authentication blockchain, the be certain side that carries through to all these transactions is important. Why? And we talked about this. Fake NFTs, fake transactions, fake people, fake IDs, fake vaccine passports, fake news. I don't know, whatever. Right.
Which, if you had the authentication, the original authentication, there would be no fake, correct? I mean,
that's right.
That's the most important piece to this, is protect what's important to you. Whatever you've purchased, your data.
Or a brand. If I'm a brand and I own a brand, a few years ago, right before COVID, Burberry was hammered for burning in the physical environment $30 million worth of Burberry clothes. Why did they do that? And go look it up. I'm not making this up. Go look at it. So why did they do that? They did that because they said, look, we don't want all this fake stuff going out. We don't want to lower our price, lower our brand equity. So we're just going to burn it. There's people out there freezing to death. And you got a company that's, in order to protect their version of protecting their brand identity and their price, was burned $30 million worth of goods.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Is that, we talked last week a little bit about ESG, environment, social, and governance. How does that match any of those? Right. So look, brands and big companies need to get on board, and they need to say, look, there's really smarter ways of doing this.
Well, and Tim,
put them in a warehouse, give them an NFT, make them vintage. I don't care. Don't burn it. Don't A, destroy the environment. B, throw away all that human labor that went into it. Sure, protect your business model, but be smart about it. Right?
And that's why we'll talk about NFTs in another time, but we see NFTs as a supply chain using whether it's any kind of identifier to see that it's authentic. And
that's right. Well, and so then you start looking at this idea, and last week we touched on this idea of ESG, and what companies need to do, what people expect in the world today. Again, this hybrid future. Hey, I'm not just going to buy your stuff because you're cool. What did you do to get that stuff?
Right.
What steps did you take to build your business? Are you operating with trust, truth, and transparency? Seriously, are you?
Yeah. No.
Right? People want to know that, right?
Right.
That's BlockCerts version 2.0. The authentication block. Create your block. Make it transparent to your customers. And it doesn't matter how big a company you are. Honestly, it really doesn't.
Right.
And the last thing that I'm excited about with version 2.0 is this idea of environment. As you know, Dan, I spent tons of time on the ocean.
Right.
When I'm not on the ocean, I'm usually trying to race you down a ski slope.
Here we go.
Not going to say it. Not going to say it.
Yeah,
Just
good luck
it was
with
my
that.
birthday last week, and it was my birthday last week. We're just going to be
happy birthday from Sunday. I needed to say that. So, yeah.
And what I want, but this idea that we have a authentication block, and we can also create every transaction. Every time we do something, we're doing something binds a transaction. If we're a token holder, because we've got authentication, we're not only getting rewarded, so we have upside in our token, we have upside from our utility. That's never happened before in software. But we're also not doing this. Look at this. This is just a brand new article. Waste from one Bitcoin transaction is like binning 2 iPhones. Now, listen to this. A single Bitcoin transaction generates the same amount of electronic waste as throwing 2 iPhones in the bin, according to a new analysis from economists at the Dutch Central Bank and MIT.
Wow.
Okay. So not only are you burning this carbon footprint, which is studied, it's been less paid as to all that hardware, computer hardware, that's doing nothing but building that coin. Well, the Be Certain coin is a processor. And that's why we say we're processing transactions. And when those transactions are processing, it's also validating on the blockchain.
And also minerless, correct, Tim?
No, it's a miner. It is a miner from actual transactions.
Right.
Why wouldn't we use what has been well established? These guys did a good job mining, but use actual computers and actual people and actual transactions. And I'm going to get back to that word again, actual utility to create value. Utility to create value. What a concept. Right. That sounds to me like a profitable, valuable enterprise.
It does. Absolutely.
Maybe we should create an exchange that things like PE ratios. I don't know. Maybe somebody will do that someday. I mean, that's been the fundamental basis of enterprise value. These blockchains in and of themselves are technology. Who has ever brought enterprise value to them?
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, being a guy who's done it, I'll tell you why it's not out there at scale. It takes 25 years.
It's incredibly technology.
You got to be incredibly stubborn and incredibly patient, and dedicate an incredible amount of resource to that. When we talk about millions and millions of person hours all over the world and so forth, you have to really work hard to get utility into that ecosystem. And nobody would ever say that Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, all these guys didn't work hard. They really did.
Agreed.
But it's time for the next iteration of what's been happening behind the scenes to come forward and solve a lot of the things that those older technologies don't solve.
Yeah, because they're 30 to 35 years old in terms of the technology. That's why there's need for a change. So Tim, as we start to wrap up here, tell me what going live means. We've been live internally, we've been live with clients, but live with Uniswap. Pretty exciting.
Live on exchanges means that the BlockCerts bridge, once you are a token holder as a BlockCerts community, and we've got lots of those now, then you will be able to use that bridge to take this into these other chain markets. And another chain market, as I just showed, could be a Uniswap or any of those DEX exchanges. It could be a NFT exchange, right? And you're able to swap. You've heard these terms, so you're able to swap that BCert inside token for that BCert token that now allows you to go do other things. So you can match it with Ethereum. You can go match it with any ERC20 based token, which means other NFT markets. You can match it with anything. And when you do that, you're bringing along that authentication block, Dan. right?
Yep. Perfect.
So you're actually bringing that utility, and you can go back. That's the interesting thing about it. So I can go out here, trade, come back, use tools, come back, go out here. And that's what Ink's the facilitator of that. So going live means that as we create our liquidity pool, our first one, which will be on Uniswap for sure, next week, these tools start rolling out for that bridge to DeFi. That's what going live means. When we start building these tools, and anybody who's been following DeFi knows there's this reward mechanism, right?
Right.
What happens though is our first pool is the liquidity pool. The second pool is the staking pool. So the more tokens you have, the more you can stake. And I'd suggest to everybody—
it's a build.
That's right. And I'd suggest to everybody, go look at Ethereum version 2.0. If you want to become a staker on version 2.0, you only need 32 ETHs.
Right.
Okay. Think about that. You only need 32 ETHs. What's 32 ETHs worth today?
You only need $90,000, right?
A little bit more than that. It's a little about $125,000 bucks.
Okay, 120. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I remember, and it actually did buy ETH when it was about 20. Right. So 32 isn't a big deal when it's 20. It's kind of a big deal when it's 32 at 3,500. Right.
Right.
So this is the evolution of that ability to now become a staker, and a staker can validate transactions. Right.
Yep.
So in the version 2 model, we've got proof of authentication. That's our model that ID certain and validating creates. Right. Then we've got the bridge. So you're validated. Now you can bridge out and you can go do whatever you want. We know that that belongs to your wallet. If you trade it out there and somebody else comes in and they come back, they're going to go through the process and create their authentication block and things like that. If you're holding it in your liquidity pool, you're going to be earning the traditional pool, whatever's out on that market, whatever market it happens to be on as these pools evolve, as well as if you're a staker or a farmer, you get this ink reward. And ink reward is mining. That's how you increase your return on your asset. Okay. So it's a business within a business within a business that allows all of these flexibilities that a typical business would do. How do I increase my margin? How do I increase my ROI? How do I increase my profit? That's what business is, right? That's what software companies do all the time. Every company does that, right?
Yeah. And given the choices, Tim, you know, if I can get less than 1% in the bank, or I can go over here and get 8% or 15% in a liquidity pool, it makes great sense to do that.
Right. And you know what, Dan? You just used a word. What word did you use? Choice.
Oh, choice.
Which is why we call our launch platform Choice, because we have provided the framework and the tools. It's your choice, and it should be your choice. So when you're a token holder at BlockCerts, it's our token members' choice. I don't know what you want to do, Dan. I know you need to have a choice, and I need you know you need to be authenticated. Then go do what you need to do, right? And that's your choice. So going live means putting it out there, opening up more and more choices, giving our user community superpowers to have that choice of how they manage their cloud, their DeFi, and their work.
Right. And just to wrap this up, one last question, Tim. We talked about this yesterday, but Uniswap, when they started their first pool, how much did they start that with compared to what they're doing today? I mean, it is kind of funny when you think about it.
It was 18. I think it was $18,000.
Exactly.
And they came out in 2018. By 2020, the end of 2020, it was well over $1 billion. Right.
So I just wanted to give that perspective that everything's a build. And next week we're beginning things, and stay tuned next week to more of what we have to say. But a lot of things happening in our company, and a lot of things happening obviously in the universe of DeFi, and making connections to technology. So
that's right. So we're waiting for our sign off from our our developer teams. We've had a lot of people that have downloaded wallets. We're waiting for that. I mean, our testing teams and our beta teams and so forth. We're patient. We're methodical.
Right.
Like, you know, this is a market that's growing and powerful. We have opened the doors for the choice program. We have opened the doors for the token buyers to come in. We have opened the doors for wallet downloads. Those are all available. Go to BlockCerts.com and click right at the top. It says choice, get a choice, and join us on the journey. It's fantastic. So BlockCerts V2.0 is at the precipice of going live. V1.0 has been there for quite some time. These additional functions, features, and bridges are now in testing and going live. And that's what opens this whole new universe up that we just talked about today, Dan.
Yeah,
that's
perfect.
The world from here.
Yeah, it is. And just to kind of give a perspective, and I come from the telecom background, but we all remember dial-up. Then it going into the cellular area, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, now 5G. When we look at Ethereum currently does 15 transactions per second, but with Ethereum 2.0, that's going to jump to what we're hearing of 100,000 transactions per second.
That's
so
right.
we're truly in a huge technology, huge, catapult of technology right now. And
well, yeah, and to your point, Dan, that's why choice is so important too, because no one blockchain, BlockCerts or otherwise, is going to be everything to all people. It is very much evolving into where do I need to be to do what, and speed of transaction. Visa's building a blockchain. MasterCard's building a blockchain. You can bet American Express is building a blockchain. Like these traditional rails, that's why we call it a hybrid world. These traditional payment rails, banks, open banking is mandated in the UK. It's coming in Canada. These open APIs to get into banking transactions. It's a massive transformation, right?
It is.
And so having that bridge and having that authentication, again, I hate to keep pounding on that. And those kinds of standards have to be there. Like that's fundamental. That's the fundamental basis. It is as fundamental as a website has an IP address behind a website name. And there's one website name. You can't go get the exact same .com name, can you?
No.
Right? So this is fundamental, and BlockCerts V2 with BCert inside is a fundamental component of this next Web 3.0 technology. But we'll talk about that later. We promised to keep this short today, so let's keep our promise. I think I went over. Sorry.
Let's do that.
I got excited. It's been it's been a week of living on adrenaline. So
it has.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We have a lot to share next week, and the weeks coming into the future. A lot happening. This is just a launch pad for all kinds of great things. So thanks for being on our journey.
Show, I'll say that. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay digital, get DeFi. Join us at BlockCerts version 2.0. We're out there. We're live. We're ready to go.
Great.